Number 4, Michigan at Iowa. Michigan with a statement win, 27-14. And what I thought was an outstanding showing on their behalf. Like I said before the season, this is the game where I want to know who Michigan is, and we would get to find out who Michigan is because that non-conference schedule is so soft. And I didn't expect Maryland to be the kind of team that ends up in the Big Ten championship game in the way that Iowa could be. Iowa showed up with the best scoring defense in the entire country, averaging just 5.8 points a game. And then they were able to score. So I'm going, all right, if you can get past that defense with your offense and you can do at least what everybody else has done to Iowa's offense, which is just keep it in check, then I will believe you for real. And that's exactly what they did. Okay. They showed up, played Michigan football. They ran the ball on a defense I didn't think they could run the ball on. They fed Blake Corum the rock. J.J. McCarthy was outstanding at not just managing the game, but throwing some darts to get them in a better field position. No turnovers from either one of those cats. One of those guys is playing for the Heisman right now. I say it's Blake Corum. It could be J.J. McCarthy because it's a pageant contest and it's not actually, about necessarily who's the best football player, because then we'd be just talking about that offensive line. Because that offensive line, especially from guard to guard, really showed up, pushed Iowa off the football, and got what they wanted in their run game that was able to open up for their pass game. It was outstanding to watch. It was shocking for many Iowa fans to see that from the defense. And then I don't know what to tell them about their offense, man. I really don't, because I got to talk to a ton of Iowa fans over the last 3 days, and I had great experiences with them. But my favorite was my Uber driver this morning, taking me to the airport. He had mentioned that producer Kat had also got into the van with him, and she enjoyed her ride to the airport. And I asked him, start talking football because he got on a Colts jersey, and he's an Iowa fan. And I said, okay, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what you want to fix. He says, I want a quarterback. I wanted the dude Cam Ward from Incarnate Word. It's like, that's not really going to happen. Eric Morris was his head coach, Incarnate Word, his offensive coordinator. He says, cool. I want Caleb Williams. That's not going to really happen because, Lincoln Riley. I want a quarterback, RJ. Just stop right there. And I said, okay, what about the play calling? Yeah, all right. We could change the play calling, but what I want is for us to actually be about playing modern football. When you are down 2 scores with 12 minutes left to play, he says, hey, why don't you just run hurry up? Why don't you pick up the pace, to use the big crit line? That's a baseball reference, by the way. And I understand that. But the problem that you're going to run into is Iowa football has had this identity forever. It had this identity when Sean Green was unanimous All-American, a running back, rushed for 1,850 yards in 2008. And it had this identity last year when Michigan stumped a mud hole in them in the Big Ten Championship 42-3. It's just who they're going to be as long as Coach Ferentz is that dude in charge. And I don't see that changing. But what's also interesting is nobody wants to see Kirk Ferentz not be the head coach at Iowa. They just want the offense to modernize and get with the times. And I got to tell you, if you were able to marry the kind of offense that Michigan plays, that Ohio State plays, that Purdue plays, with the kind of offense or kind of defense that Iowa plays, we're probably talking about them playing not just for Big Ten championships, but playing for national championships. And that's really, whether or not you want to make that move, I think is up to the coach, but this is not working. That's what's clear. You can't expect the defense to bail you out of every game, especially when you're playing one of the 4 best teams in the country. And I get that. So outside of all of that, though, I took a look at the sideline and I looked at Sharon Moore and I said, how much longer are you going to be on the sideline at the University of Michigan? And I put this to Braylon Edwards as well. You would know, unanimous All-American, Biletnikoff Award winner, Big Ten MVP in 2004. And he's not concerned about Sharon Moore perhaps getting a better job because of the staff and the way that they've been able to build it, young guys taking their opportunities. But I didn't have much faith in the staff at all. I didn't have faith in it because Josh Gaddis was the Broyles Award winner last year as an offensive coordinator. He's at Miami. Mike McDonald did his bid, got him to the playoff, went back to the Ravens. Jim Harbaugh said, you know what? I'm going to elevate Matt Weiss and Sharon Moore, and I'm not going to tell anybody who calls the plays. They're just going to figure it out, and it's working. Jesse Minter comes from the Baltimore Ravens, basically running the same defense, and it's working. Young guys getting their opportunities to really go at it, and Michigan and people are paying attention. I think Sharon Moore, like Brian Hartline, is going to be one of those guys that's in line for a head coaching job, lickety-split. right? It's just going to happen for him. He had the Joe Moore Award winning offensive line in 2021. They're playing outstanding football in 2022. He is the common denominator. And I have to say it, as an Oklahoma football player, played guard 2006, 2007, University of Oklahoma from Derby, Kansas. You're welcome, Michigan. You're welcome. We gave you a Sooner to help a Michigan man. Gonna put that out there. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so I'm expecting great things for Sharon Moore. I wouldn't be shocked if he or Matt Weiss, I'm going to lean towards him because the offensive line, are in line for the Broyles Award, giving 2 to Michigan in the last 2 years. Okay, from that game to the former number 1 overall team in my rankings to why they're not. We got to talk about number 1 Georgia holding off Missouri 26-22. But I'm watching this game at dinner, and I'm like, wait a second, did I have this right? Is Missouri up 10-0? Yes, they are. Are they turning Georgia over? Yes, they are. Are they running rampant through the Georgia defense? Yes, they are. At one point, it's 16-3 Missouri. That should never happen for Georgia, especially as Missouri ain't nobody this year. They're 2-3 now. They were 2-2 when they started the game. And it took an effort, a real live effort, for Georgia to come back and win a game against Missouri 26-22. Second week in a row, they've given up 22. First to Kent State, now to Missouri. The stat was there only been 2 teams to give up 21 or more or 22 or more points to Georgia since the start of last season. One of them at that time was Alabama. One of them was Kent State. And now there are 3. Missouri in the SEC East. And I don't expect them to be challenging anybody in the SEC East. Showed up at home and decided to put Georgia on Front Street. Stetson Bennett was 24 of 43, 312 yards, no TDs, also no picks, and he put the ball on the carpet. You can't have that. You just simply can't have that. Now, I know that there was a dirty hit, or what appeared to be a dirty hit on Jalen Carter during this game, and he needed to leave it, but it feels like it's going to be a sprained MCL. Use the right adjective there, RJ. A sprained MCL, so he might be able to play a little bit later on, but he wanted to go back into the game, and he was not allowed to do so, and that's for the better, right? But you should not need Jalen Carter to play to beat Missouri, and you did. It is not a day where I felt like 2 weeks ago, hand Georgia the national championship because that's the most dominant team in the country by a large margin. But that's why we keep playing week to week. And that's one of the reasons we have a playoff. That's why we have an SEC championship. And that's why the season is 12 games long. Fascinated to see what it looks like when Georgia plays Tennessee. Fascinated to see what it looks like when Georgia plays Florida. Because now there's blood in the water. And I expect the SEC to come straight at Georgia's neck. Not unlike people are coming at Alabama's neck. We'll talk about that here in a bit. But before we do, let's talk about number 5 Clemson defeating number 10 North Carolina State 30-20. Watched a bunch of this game too, right? And what I was really impressed with was how Clemson's defense held up against Devin Leary and that North Carolina State offense. I thought that North Carolina State's defense was going to show up against Clemson, and to some degree it did. But keeping the lid on Devin Leary and that offense is not an easy thing to do. As a matter of fact, it's the first time all year that I looked at Clemson and I said, okay, cool. That's a team that can play for a national championship, let alone an ACC championship. DJ Uiagalelei out there like Josh Allen light, you know what I mean? Getting anything he wants in the run game and taking care of the football, finding guys not wide open in tight areas. 21 of 30 for 209 yards and a team high 73 rush yards. Will Shipley was running angry, running mean. It's a lot of fun to watch. And then that defense again, they were able to put the lid back on North Carolina State at Death Valley in what I think is a statement victory for them. I thought perhaps this is the year that North Carolina State gets over Clemson and puts themselves into the driver's seat to play in the ACC championship and perhaps win it. And Clemson's saying, no, this is still our conference and we still run it. Doesn't matter that we lost both coordinators, Tony Elliott to Virginia, Brent Venables to Oklahoma. It matters that this is Clemson and we do it this way. And at Death Valley, that is where you do come to die. Okay. They have not lost a game in Death Valley since 2016. Boston College was up 18 on them. I want to say this is 2020. Yeah. And DJ brought them back in that game too. It's not a happy place for visitors. And that's exactly what you want from your home stadium. Dabo Swinney was jacked before the game. And when the lights went out, I was going, okay, cool. All right. Clemson's back. And in the way that we've been waiting for Texas to get back, Clemson's back. And Clemson's going to be at the front of the line when we come time to decide who the ACC champion is going to be. Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.